Why aren't Jews asked to forget the Holocaust, but black people are asked to forget slavery? Have you ever noticed something strange? When it comes to Jewish people and the Holocaust, the world says never forget. But when it comes to black people and slavery, the message is often, move on, get over it. Why is that? And what does this difference tell us about how trauma works across generations? Let's break this down, because both histories were devastating. Both created generational trauma. But the way we respond to each is very, very different. The Holocaust lasted from 1941 to 1945. In just 4 years, 6 million Jews were murdered, entire families destroyed, and survivors carried scars that never fully healed. The global response was clear. Museums, memorials, reparations, books, films, and education campaigns. In fact, Germany has paid out over $90 billion in reparations to Holocaust survivors and their families. Now, compare that to slavery. The transatlantic slave trade lasted over 400 years. Millions of Africans were captured, shipped like cargo, stripped of names, culture, and family ties. And after slavery ended in 1865, black people faced another 100 years of segregation, lynching, and legalized discrimination. Yet when we bring up slavery today, some people roll their eyes. That was a long time ago. Why are you still talking about it? Here's the key. Both events left deep wounds, but only one is widely acknowledged as a trauma we must collectively remember. Did you know trauma doesn't just disappear with the people who first experience it? Science shows trauma can literally be passed down through generations, through parenting styles, community memory, even biology. For Jewish families, children and grandchildren of survivors often carry anxieties, hypervigilance, or even inherited grief. For black families, the legacy of slavery shows up in generational poverty, fractured family structures, mistrust of institutions, and health disparities. Here's the heartbreaking part. Children and future generations often carry this pain without even understanding the original wound. They may feel the weight of fear, anger, or emptiness, but not know where it comes from, almost like inheriting a scar without ever seeing the cut. Both groups live with generational trauma, but society's response determines how healing or re-traumatization happens. Now, are Jews taking better steps toward healing? That's a complicated question. Jewish communities, with strong cultural and global support, built rituals of remembrance, Holocaust Remembrance Day, survivor testimonies, heritage schools. They used memory as resistance. Never forget became not just a warning, but a healing tool. For black communities, healing has been harder because slavery was never fully acknowledged in the same way. There was no large-scale reparations program, no global memorials demanding everyone never forget. Instead, there was silence, or even erasure. Statues of slaveholders were built, while black pain was minimized. That doesn't mean healing isn't happening. Across the African diaspora, there are movements around truth-telling, reconnecting with African heritage, generational wealth building, and therapy rooted in black cultural traditions. But imagine how much further we could be if society treated slavery with the same seriousness as the Holocaust. So what can we learn here? Trauma doesn't vanish with time. It lives on, unless it's faced. Healing requires acknowledgement, education, and real structural change. Both Jews and black people show resilience, but where the world said, never forget to one, it said, move on to the other. What if instead we said, never forget about slavery too? What if schools taught it with the same depth and society backed it with the same urgency? Here's the truth. Remembering is healing. Forgetting, or being forced to forget, is just another wound. Children and future generations often inherit scars without ever seeing the cut. They live with echoes of pain that started centuries before them. That's why remembrance isn't about dwelling in the past. It's about breaking cycles for the future. So the next time someone says, "Why are you still talking about slavery?" ask them this: would you ever tell Jews to forget the Holocaust? Because both are traumas etched into history, and both deserve remembrance, justice, and healing.